So here we go again. A brief update on EOS on this one, but before we do that, just if you've not watched my video on XRP, which I suppose you'd only watch if you were interested in it. All I was saying is that obviously there's been a big dump, and the dump was brought about by Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's dump was Bitcoin has been kicked down the stairs by Elon Musk. Which all I was saying on my last video is that that's a fine thing for him to do, and it's a fine thing for him to say. It's an appropriate thing for him to say, really, because there's truth behind it. That Bitcoin is not an efficient payment method, and it does cost a lot of money, and it kind of is silly to treat it like that. You can treat it like a store of value if you want, but as a payment system, no. There's less use case for Bitcoin, an adoption for Bitcoin, with as far as a payment system these days than there was, when I even first heard about it. Do you know what I mean? Years and years and years ago. It was being used more then than it is now. So that's that out of the way. Elon Musk kicked Bitcoin down the stairs. He's still holding on to it for his store of value, which is worth thinking about. But he's not entertaining the idea of using it as a payment system, which is completely 100% the right thing to do. There are so many more altcoins out there that would offer an efficient and fast and cheap and environmentally friendly payment system, just not Bitcoin. All right, that's fine. I mean, he's a bright lad. He knew that from the outset, and now they've gone off to effectively recognise that, and so maybe they'll implement some other things. Maybe they'll accept payments in other cryptocurrencies, or maybe somebody's going to create a cryptocurrency that will do the Bitcoin payments for them. For less. Anyway, that's the fundamental stuff out the way, which I have to say I'm not the biggest fundamental person at all. I trade charts, and if we're thinking about this before we go into EOS, the chart says so long as we're above the 20 weekly, things should be okay. And if we don't go below, if we go below the 20 weekly, we have this little skinny white or grey line. That's your 21 EMA, because EMAs are often more important than the moving averages, and that's why I use the majority of my moving averages are exponentials, because cryptocurrency moves so fast, it moves exponentially, so exponential moving averages generally hold more relevance. But the Bollinger Band strategy here is based upon the centre of this, the Bollinger Band being the 20 weekly here, and so long as we're above there, everything's okay. And if there is an opportunity to buy, you would buy here, because you're more likely to win that trade than lose it, only slightly. The odds are ever so slightly in your favour to win that trade. So it's not over yet until we start closing below here, and then it would likely take a bit more of a significant downside to it, which is fine. And if you watch my channel, or if you're part of my Patreon, you'll have heard me say probably for a few weeks now that I've been taking more profit recently than I have done in a very long time. Not because I expect a dump, it's just that the market has been so good and so kind to us, to me especially, that taking profit, when things are looking less exciting, it used to be the case that we could just buy anything and it would go up, but actually it has taken a little bit more planning and skill to get on the right side of a decent trade, one of those trades that gives 10, 20, 30% move or more. Whereas before, even a monkey could sit, bashing at a keyboard and knock out some successful trades, and it's just been a little slower these last few weeks, maybe over the last couple of months, to achieve that kind of success. So the market's slowing down to an extent, which is fine. That's fine. I mean, it has been going up a lot for a long period of time. Right, so let's go over to EOS then, because that's what we're looking at. And EOS is, it's performing almost as we were saying yesterday. So yesterday I did say that I shaved some profits around here. Remember, my entry point was down here and here, so I'm still, this is a long-term position. But I did feel like I was tempting fate if I wasn't to take some profit here, and it was only a slither. I took some out at $13, and I took some out at around $14. So 2 exit points, which equated to about 20% of my overall EOS investment. So still only a fraction, a slither of profit taken. And the reason I did that is because technically, from my average entry point, which is about $2.50 or thereabouts, some a bit higher, some a bit lower, I was up, well, give or take 400%. That's like I say, give or take, because it was around that, and I did enter in some here. So we could call it an average entry point of about $3. So it's about 400%. So yeah, I took some profit there in anticipation for a dump, right? And It's not because I have a crystal ball and I saw anything coming. I didn't know that Elon Musk was going to do this, which is why the market has dumped. I just know, based on this chart, and this is all I was saying yesterday, that previously we've had these really big rises and really big falls. A 43% move there down to this zone here, and then a nice big move up here, and then a further drop of 49% there. And the good thing about the chart is if we look at it on the weekly, there is perfect rhythm to this. A big move up, resistance, back down, break resistance, big move up, down to what was a resistance is now support, big move up. Now, where would I expect this to come down to? Well, each one of these lines does dictate a particular area of what could be support. But if we did this based on our previous behavior, it might suggest, and I'm not saying that this is the case, but it might suggest a retracement of to the tune of about 51% down to this level, which was previously the resistance, which could now be the support. Doesn't mean that we have to do that. I mean, that wick there came all the way down to $8.25, so that was a big drop in itself already. The drop from wick to wick being 45% more or less. So the size of the dumps has already fit the picture, but you know, not perfectly if we think about how we flipped resistances to supports. So potential downside is still on the cards, and if we're thinking about the Bollinger Band strategy as well on the weekly, we're outside of this here. This is a lot of wick above us and a lot of wick below us. This is what's known as a spinning top. Now this hasn't closed. This candle could go one way or another. This is a weekly chart that we're looking at here. It could go one way or another. Don't really know. Either way, I'm not particularly interested in buying in at this level. Just because I never buy anything that's floating outside of a Bollinger Band. It is the weekly, so let's have a look at the daily. How's the daily behaving? So nice amount of red, and so far a reasonable bounce so far. But you know, when we're looking at EOS, we have to look at the bigger picture, and it is all about the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is what we're seeing here. We have an uptrend that is still in play, confirms to us on the weekly. Everything's okay for the weekly to continue to go up over the rest of this year, you know, at least from my entry points basically. Am I looking to re-enter EOS with the profit that I took? No, I'm not. That profit has been taken, and I will not be reinvesting it into EOS. I've already got more than enough EOS, and I will be taking profits on the way up. And I showed areas where my next profit taking area will be. So we've got one around here, and the next one will be all the way up here, around about $23 to $24, and then the next one beyond that will be about twice that, about $40, and so on and so on and so on. So you know, this is what it's all about. We trade a chart appropriately. First exit points were for me around here, but it was only a slither because the big picture, and again this is the best way to trade on the big picture. The big picture is only up, even if we come all the way down to $7.25, which is a likely scenario. It's not unlikely, should I say. It might not be likely, but it's definitely not unlikely. That is a definite area of significance, and maybe if we did come down to that level, I might take a position in it again, only because we can see how relevant this chart is and how neatly this chart has behaved. And again, people are beginning to recognize that there might be something in EOS now, but you know, this chart was neat before, and that's why I entered it. It's certainly neat now, which only reinforces my overall conviction that EOS will end up doing relatively well throughout the rest of this year. And if we think about, you know, obviously the targets that I've got set for myself, you know, that's over a 10x, and that's, you couldn't ask for more than that. Now, 10x is a really good return on any investment that you put in. You know, of course, it's an amazing return on any investment, and that, in my opinion, is still on the cards. And like I said yesterday, I was expecting a dump. I didn't expect it to happen within a 24-hour period of making the video, but I kind of was expecting it anyway. So we're getting that dump now. The dump may still continue to play out. It's all going to be based upon Bitcoin and how Bitcoin behaves. And Bitcoin does actually look like it's entering a downtrend now. I mean, it technically has technically been in a downtrend on the daily anyway. We just have to see our relationship and how the candle body behaves regarding this 20 weekly and the 21 weekly. Anyway, don't panic, don't worry. We've got a live stream tomorrow night, so if you're not a member of the Patreon, good time to sign up. And it's not all bad, you know. Some of these altcoins have worked out really well. If you have a look at my my bot I've got going here for Algo to BTC, it's still very much in play. In fact, it's outperforming Bitcoin quite well. So not everything has dumped out of the sky. There still is some decent opportunities and some good ways to play this market. Bots definitely one of them. And this is one of the better bots that I've got going on spot bots anyway. It's working out really well here. Lovely, in fact. Lovely stuff. And I might make a video on Algo shortly, actually. Anyway, other than that, I hope you have a nice day and take it easy.